All right, let's dive into a topic that sits right on the very edge of mainstream science. We're going to explore some of those phenomena that are, widely reported in human experience, but often just brushed aside by the scientific community. And we're going to ask, is there a disciplined way to actually investigate them?
And this question, man, this really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? Science has taught us, pretty effectively, that if you can't measure something, it probably doesn't exist. But what if our tools just aren't good enough yet? This gap, this little space between what we know for sure and these persistent human experiences, that's exactly where the disciplined inquiry of parapsychology begins. So, before we go any further, the first and probably most important thing we need to do is clear the air. We have to define what we're actually talking about and separate it from all the noise and, well, all the misconceptions out there.
And this slide draws a really critical distinction. Let's be crystal clear. We are absolutely not talking about magic spells or superstition. This isn't about spooky stories. Instead, parapsychology is a field of inquiry that focuses on the anomalies of science, the puzzles that just don't fit neatly into our current models of reality.
Okay, so here's a more formal definition. The key phrases you really want to lock onto are widely reported, but not yet fully repeatable or measurable. We're talking about these patterns of experience that keep showing up, but that we can't reliably replicate in a lab, at least not yet. It's really the study of persistent mysteries.
So what kinds of mysteries are we even talking about? Well, this includes things like reports of near-death experiences, or NDEs, the possibility of consciousness existing without any brain activity, extrasensory perception, ESP, and even mind-matter phenomena, where consciousness seems to directly influence the physical world. These are really the core areas of inquiry. And that brings us to the next big question. Why is there even a gap in our scientific knowledge in the first place? Well, to understand that, we have to look at a core, and I mean core assumption of classical science. This assumption, look, it served science well in a lot of ways, but it's also incredibly dangerous. Why? Because it mistakes the limits of our tools for the limits of reality itself. It basically assumes that what we can't see simply isn't there. And believe me, history has a lot to say about that little assumption. This timeline just illustrates the point perfectly. The history of science is absolutely filled with concepts that were first mocked. Radio waves? Considered impossible. Microbes? Dismissed as just a fantasy. Magnetic fields? People thought that was occult nonsense. In every single one of these cases, it wasn't that the phenomena were unreal. It was just that we lacked the tools to see what was already there all along. Which, of course, leads to the logical follow-up. Does the fact that we don't have a consciousness meter or a telepathy detector, does that really prove that these phenomena don't exist? Or does it just prove that our toolkit is still incomplete? So if our physical tools have limits, where else can we look for clues? Well, the answer lies in data that we have in absolute abundance, patterned human experience. And that brings us to maybe science's biggest blind spot of all, consciousness itself. Consciousness. Think about it. We can scan every neuron in the brain, we can map every single electrical impulse, but science still cannot answer these fundamental questions. We have no real idea what consciousness actually is, where it comes from, or why you have this unique internal experience of being you. We can see all the hardware of the brain, but that subjective experience, it remains a complete mystery. And this is where the data just gets fascinating. When we look at reports of things like near-death experiences, the details are strikingly similar across completely different cultures, religions, and languages. People consistently report seeing a light, having a sense of leaving their body, and this feeling of profound connection. It's the same story over and over again. So this presents us with a pretty stark choice. Are millions of people throughout all of history, from every corner of the world, all just coincidentally having the exact same mass delusion? Or are these shared patterns a clue, a hint, that there might be a layer to reality that we just don't perceive in our normal, everyday state? Simply mocking it is, well, it's just not a sufficient answer anymore. And this brings us to our final, and maybe the most crucial section. If we're going to take any of this seriously, we have to establish some very clear red lines. We have to separate genuine, honest inquiry from straight-up exploitation. So here's the crucial point. The moment someone starts selling you beliefs, or profiting from your hope or your fear, or offering you absolute certainty, that is not science. That's just mental abuse. Genuine parapsychological inquiry isn't about selling answers. It's about asking better questions. It embraces doubt, and it's committed to open investigation, not blind belief. And this really is the core idea. Parapsychology, when it's practiced with integrity, isn't anti-science at all. In fact, it is the spirit of science. It's the humble admission that, hey, we don't know everything, yet. It's not a set of answers. It's the next chapter in our quest to understand the universe. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. If reality is only what our current instruments can detect, if it's all just particles and forces that we've already cataloged, then why does the mystery of our own consciousness remain so profound? Why are there still so many unanswered questions?